Hello, this is my honors thesis presentation on my project titled Kelp Conversations, Bridging the Divide Between Art and Science in Conservation Communication. Before we really get going, I want to introduce an idea to you guys called communication modeling. Communication models describe how we communicate with people and what tools we use to communicate. The most common model that we see day to day is the information deficit model. This model operates under the idea that more information or more data will lead to more understanding, which will eventually lead to more action or engagement on a topic. This model has been shown to be ineffective, and that the communication based on transmission and absorption unfortunately doesn't create a lasting and effective impact. So currently there are studies that look at how we can move away from this model and towards dialogue or participatory models that kind of have a focus on co-creating between audience and presenter to create a lasting impact. And for my thesis, I wanted to explore how these models can be implemented in conservation science and academia. And I wanted to explore that interdisciplinary collaboration, particularly through including art in sciences, and how that can shift conservation communication from information transfer to meaning making, shifting from one-way communication models to two-way communication models. I did this by conducting a literature review, a series of interviews with artists and scientists in environmentally focused fields, and then my own art installation and exploration using my background as a kelp scientist to kind of guide my artistic exploration. So the literature did discuss how the information deficit model fails, and also how we can create new models grounded in empathy and engagement to create more effective communication. From the interviews that I conducted, there were a lot of commonalities between artists and scientists. Artists and scientists both share a foundation of curiosity and noticing, and a lot of the folks that I talked to also expressed an interest in a commitment to accessible communication. Both of these groups of people see a need to communicate more effectively, and our conversations did yield some really interesting points that are included in my paper. And then I did create my own art piece as well. I sought to kind of bring my experience as a marine scientist and a kelp ecologist and kind of diving in those environments and working in those environments, and how that could be brought to others to kind of open a door for that two-way communication model, and open a door for a line of questioning about a pretty unique ecosystem. Here are a couple other photos of that piece of the project. Overall, this project really taught me that there isn't a data deficit when we talk about conservation science or environmental science, but there is a meaning deficit, and that our cultural connection and our technical knowledge do have a role to play in our understanding, and that we can use interdisciplinary practices like including art in science to kind of create meaning with people and have a more impactful presence in our communities. So thank you guys so much for listening to this short recap of my project. If you're interested in learning more about this, it is listed in Scholars Archive with more detail, of course, on all three pieces of this project, if you're interested. And here are some references. Thanks.